we'll be looking for a mayor pro tem, but first we're going to do the roll call. Monty, please.
Alderman Santee.
Here.
Alderman Glad.
Here.
Alderman McClatchy.
Here.
Alderman Massey.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderwoman Miller. Here.
Okay.
Here.
Okay, we'll be looking for a motion for a mayor pro tem, please.
I'll second.
I'll make the motion for Alderman Glad to be mayor pro tem for today.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderwoman Massey.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Abstain.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderman Davis.
Yes. We can all stay to the plate.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first part of our meeting is public comment, and we have is it Sean White? If you would come to the podium, please. I'm sorry, I did get that right, Sean White?
It is Sean Wade. Okay. I'm the proprietor of Buddy's Pizza, 1138 Green Street. And I appreciate all of your time tonight. I just wanted to, I know there's been a lot of talk about the parking downtown McHenry, and I just wanted to put on the public record that no matter what happens with the property across the street that currently Shodine is looking to develop down there by the river and Green Street, I just want to make sure that the city addresses the need for public parking. Currently here in attendance is my landlord, who we rent parking from across the street, and there's the heirs of the estate to Ned Newman, who own the property across the street. And I just want to just make sure you guys are aware. I think it would be detrimental for my business if there's not at least a minimum of parking on that side south of the river on Green Street. There is a definite parking problem, and like I said, I'm all about whatever is best for the city, but I just want to make sure that currently there's probably about 75 spots over there, and there's a lot of talk could happen or what may happen, but I just want to make sure you guys as a council, building we're in, there is a parking problem. It was probably handled, before many of you were here, myself for sure. And I just want to make sure they don't make the same mistake again. And if anything, I think we need to overcompensate. And I don't know what's going to happen with Landmark or the high school or any of that, but there is, when you have concerts and stuff like we had this past weekend, which was great for downtown, there's a definite parking problem. I just want to make sure that is on your guys' mind whenever you guys decide to do whatever you guys want to do. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Sean. We don't normally go into a conversation back and forth on this, but I just want to state that I know I've had discussions with the other aldermen, and whether it was executive session or chit-chats between the aldermen, and I can tell you, at least I feel that every alderman here knows the situation there, and the parking for you guys is also in our back of our minds too.
Well, I appreciate that, and I look forward to working with all you guys. And honestly, McHenry is great. I've been there for 6 years now. I'd love to be part of the growth and the development, and if we can all do it together, I think we could do something awesome down there.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Well, you know what? If it's okay with the rest of the council, go for it then.
Before you sit down, in a perfect, I know you already did, in a perfect world, how many parking spots do you need for your business in the area of your business. In a perfect world.
Once again, not only just representing myself, but I think the building as a whole, I would prefer the penny catcher keeping it, well, east parking per se, or public parking per se. I think currently, I think there's approximately 75 spots. I would just say.
Correction. If I may speak, we just had this conversation with Ross, and we had an email I had with Ned several years ago when he started these. They're exactly 80 spots for
But I think very minimum, I would think, especially if they're gonna develop, there's gonna be even more need for more parking. And there's currently 80 public parking spots that all the commercial tenants rent from the estate of that currently.
Excuse me, but could the other gentleman come up front? Would you mind? Yeah, for your comments. I
We
think
need
it
you
would
on
be
the mic.
helpful. Could
We
you
need- yeah.
give your name and address to,
Yeah.
to the podium, please?
Yeah, we need you on the mic for the recording. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Rich Isley. I'm the owner of River Place Apartments, the building that a Buddy's is in, and residents. I've owned it for the last 7 years. And number one, I'd like to thank you guys for a great job you've done with the city so far. Ned's lease with us basically was for 80 spots, and that's, really minimum we need right now. It's really more for the commercial end of the stores, not just for us, for all of Green Street down. If you're there in the evening, you can see people parking in Ned's property, going down to DC Cobb's, everywhere. It's kind of a central hub. So the one thing, you guys have done such a great job redeveloping the downtown area where it's from the time I came here, it's like it's a whole new vision of what it used to be. It's marvelous. If we kill off the parking in any way, it's going to kill that too. And the city's downtown has become so alive. It's amazing to see what has happened in the last few years.
Well, I'll tell you, parking has always been one of my concerns about a lot of areas. If you could get with Mr. Polarecki in the next day or two, maybe after talking to some of your tenants and everything else, and come up with, and I'm not saying an exact figure, but a real good figure of approximately what your building needs to thrive. And Ross, if you could take and maybe give that information to the council, and also pass along, if you could go to the archives and find out what the agreement originally was that we were supposed to have in that building when it was first proposed, as far as the amount of parking spaces, I would appreciate it.
I can do that.
Okay.
We've already been in discussion. Oh,
Sure.
yep.
But it'd be good for the council to know. Yes, Alderman Miller.
So if I can
Alderman.
ask one more question, Dan, you're in the audience as well. If we're on parking and effective Green Street, in a perfect world, how many parking spots do you need for DC Cobb's?
Well, I would say minimum of what we have already. That's what I would say. It's that parking lot. Our residential people really do not
Looks
use
like
it.
it could
We
be.
have parking on the site behind the building, and also we rent the whole first row of I'll keep wanting to call it the villas. I keep forgetting the name. So we have never had a problem with the parking as far as for the people that are living in the building. It's more for the commercial end, and not just it's not just for the commercial people in our building itself. It's for DC Cobb's, for the whole strip down there. The one thing I learned over the years in business, people like convenience. If they're going to have to walk too far, they're going to go, well, let's go to the next place. Let's go to the next place, especially when it's a night out or something like that. And, convenience is important for something like that. And, I grew up in the city. I'm used to parking someplace and walking a mile to get to where you're going to go. That's not the case in the suburbs. People, if there's not a parking place close, they'll go somewhere else. And these businesses are thriving now. We have the barber shop over there. They're doing amazing business. All of these businesses are really thriving, and you guys have done a great job building that up. And I don't hate to see it go backwards if we lose parking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan Hart, DC Cobb's, 1204 Green Street. We would need approximately an ideal world of 20 spots.
100 to 125.
Based
you,
on our
Dan.
capacity with the rooftop patio downstairs front, that's what it would take.
Thank you.
Andy? Question?
Yes, Alderman.
Yeah, as long as we're asking questions. Dan, what's your newest guesstimate when Diablo's is going to be open?
That's why I'm here. I'm hoping to have it open in the next 60 days. I was talking to Alderman Santi about it. We had some huge contractor problems, people between not showing up and disappearing and whatever else, but all the major stuff is done. Now we're just doing finished work. We've got the floors in the kitchen, the floor in the bathrooms, the floors in the bar, which allows us to now put equipment in. The bathroom should be trimmed out this week and done. In terms of actual construction stuff, it's really just the floor and putting together furniture and stuff. So we're cranking. As old Mr. Santi, we've been paying rent, which is not how I like to do it. So paying rent on a building we're working on is not fantastic
Right.
for me.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as we could move on to the consent agenda. Is there any other person that would like to pull something off the agenda? Alderman McClatchy?
Thank you, Mayor. E, please.
E, Edward? Okay. Anybody else? Then I would look for a motion for A through H, is it? No, A through K, excluding E. Alderwoman Miller?
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda A through D and F through K, please.
And seconded by Alderwoman Bassey.
I'll second that.
Okay. Could we call for a vote? Or any other discussion? No? Then, Alderman Santi.
Just to, I don't know if anyone can answer this, but on number C, Blues Brew and Barbecue, is that the first time they're doing a Thursday night? They've been doing Thursdays. Okay. All right, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Anybody else? Then we could have a roll call.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Motion passes. Then E is pulled by Alderman Frank.
Alderman Frank is good.
Alderman Frank is, okay.
I have nothing against Jack. He's a realtor that is going to be in charge of selling our property. But I just hope down the road that we consider people that live in the city as agents for selling McHenry property. I think it's shop local. That's it. And I'll make a motion. Pass it.
Okay. Do we have a second? Alderwoman Miller?
Sure, I'll second it.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Okay, then we move on to the individual action item agenda. And, we have a motion, if we could have a motion to approve the El Vado Mexican Restaurant liquor license as presented. Alderwoman Bassey,
I'll make that motion.
and seconded Alderman Santee.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, so this is a motion to approve a Class A liquor license, El Vado Mexican Restaurant at 929 Front Street. And there's no discussion. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
And then B is basically pending the approval of the Class liquor license we just passed. A motion to approve a video gaming license to El Vado Mexican Restaurant at 929 Front Street. Alderwoman Miller.
I'll make the motion to approve the gaming for El Vado as well.
And seconded by Alderman Santee.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Discussion. Alderwoman Bassey.
Just a quick question. Are you looking at 6 terminals? Are they here?
I don't see them here, but they're not changing anything. I believe it. I think they have 6 now, and I think they're keeping. I think that's what they want to keep. There's no changes.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody? Alderman Santee?
Yeah, just for point of record, this is a transfer because of new ownership at the record, correct?
Right. It's not
replacing this.
Yeah, nothing's changing at all, really, except for an owner. Yep.
Thank you.
And the notes say it's a family member, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, from a brother to a sister, really, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Then we'll ask for a vote. We have a motion on the floor.
Okay, Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey,
Yes.
Alderman Davis,
Yes.
Alderman Cook,
Yes.
Okay, the next thing we have on the agenda is the Whiskey Diablo Third Amendment. Again, it's a motion to approve a Third Amendment to the Economic Incentive Agreement between the City of McHenry at 1325 Riverside Drive, incorporated with doing business as Whiskey Diablo. And it was by Deputy Clerk Johnson. And I think basically, from what I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but basically I know this is the Third Amendment to extend it again. There's been a lot of problems as far as development and whatnot over there. I think the city has been quite willing to work with Whiskey Diablo over there to get it open, and I would ask for a motion. Alderman Frank?
Alderman Frank. Thank you, Mayor Andy. I would make a motion that we approve the Third Amendment.
And a second by Alderwoman Miller.
I'll second the amendment, or second the motion to approve the Third Amendment extension.
Any questions or statements? Alderman Santee?
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Hart for giving me some time earlier this evening, and he had spoken, through a question through Alderman McClatchy in regards to this amendment. I just hope that this is our final amendment, and just look forward to, getting you finally. I know you've got some concerns, constructions, other than that, but happily move forward it. And next time we see each other, we're cutting the grand opening ribbon. Thank you.
Alderwoman.
Dan, so in your perfect world, when you open Whiskey Diablo, how much parking do you think you're going to consume in the Riverside Drive area? Yeah, all of it we know, but
Yeah, I hope all of it. I mean,
how many seats do you have in there?
about 200.
200.
And that's what we ended up having to, that's part of the delay. We ended up having to sprinkle the entire building, and we had to expand the water main to do the sprinkling, so we had to shut down the whole street, underground, do a bunch of stuff I don't understand, but it cost a lot of money, took a lot of time.
So let me ask another question, because this I hear all the time. There's a lot of hidden parking around Riverside Drive. There's the parking behind the building. There's the parking around the park. There's the parking, obviously, on the new parking lot across from After the Fox. Do we have enough signage down there so that people can find public parking adequately?
You can never put up enough signage for public parking. We have the same issue in Holly. There's parking everywhere, and everyone says there's no parking because, as the gentleman spoke earlier, in suburbs, people aren't used to walking as much. They want to park directly in front of a restaurant and walk in. We have a restaurant in the Woodstock Square. There's also parking everywhere in Woodstock, and everyone says there's no parking because you can't park directly in front of the restaurant. So I know Huntley made maps that they put out online, and we print and have in the stores and stuff to show where all the public parking is. I feel that's helpful.
Perfect. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Is there anybody else? I have a motion on the floor. Roll call.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Cook,
Yes.
Alderman Davis,
Yes.
Alderwoman Massey,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Okay, the next is a secondary metering ordinance, and I will refer that to Director Wirt.
Thank you, Alderman Glad. Every now and then we get these calls about a secondary meter to deduct off their sanitary bill for like irrigation, filling pools, things like that. And we've always denied it through my entire career. And then recently came up and, looking at it, we don't have an ordinance on it, so this is really just updating the ordinance, so we have it on, in our books and our code that we don't allow it. And that's really the gist of it. So if there's any questions about it.
I think
like
pretty much.
details.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's it?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I was going to say that I think it was pretty well spelled out in the agenda packet as far as where we stand on that. And yes, I got history on that I can remember many a times people would ask. And I guess before any other discussion, I'd ask for a motion to pass this ordinance. Let's go with Alderman Cook for once, and seconded by Alderwoman
I want to, as presented, the motion.
Okay. And seconded by Alderwoman Miller.
I'll second the motion to deny secondary metering.
And is there any discussion on this? Yes.
Thank you, Director Wirtz, for your explanation. I get this question all the time. People go, well, I water my lawn with the water. Why am I paying sewer charges on that? And it's like, how would you like us to measure what goes on your yard? So thank you for bringing this so that we can finally have it in the ordinance. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Safety?
I appreciate what Alderwoman Miller has spoken, but even more is that the swimming pool people. Now, if you're committing to building a swimming pool, I think you should know that you're going to be spending some money on a lot of maintenance, not just water. So, it's an investment by the homeowner, and it's part of the investment. That's all I have. Thank you.
I was just going to state that more than anything else, that over the years, I've learned that there is a lot of complications as far as Public Works figuring out what rates to charge between the sewer as well as the water rates, and all the factors have to be put in. And actually, although I am in favor of this ordinance, I don't know why anybody would want a second meter, because they'd be paying a second fee on, because every meter gets charged the debt service, and they would be winding up automatically before they even turn on the valve. They'd be paying about $42 in debt service. So I think it's the right way to go, and I'm all for it. So anybody else? Then have a roll call, please.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Okay, so now we come down to discussion item agendas. And there's nothing specific on there that we have for discussion. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Are you asking for, no, you're asking discussion items. You're not asking for city council comments yet, correct?
Not yet, no. We're just talking discussion item. I don't think we actually have anything specific. Okay, then we'll skip that, and we go to staff reports, which everybody has written down, and then the mayor's report. And the only thing I can say about the mayor's report is the fact that he called me or texted me just to remind me that I was running the meeting tonight. Other than that, I don't know what else he'd have to say. So with that, we go down to city council comments, and Alderman Santee, I think you had something you want to bring up.
Thank you, Alderman Glad. I just want to make note, I appreciate, I had a few minutes with Chief Burke today, and I just wanted to express to other elected officials that I had a couple of concerns about noise levels Friday night, and I was not there, but what I was told is that they felt it came from the Vixen, and really it was bothering them as they were sitting inside Buddy's having dinner, a later dinner, like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So, and what the chief said, which is right on the money, is that if you hear it, make a call. Don't wait until you get a hold of your alderman 2 or 3 days later. Make the call and let them come out and check it out for you. There's nothing that can be done 3 or 4 days later. So just wanted to express that, those thoughts and those concerns I received over the weekend. Thank you.
I had a very similar situation on Saturday night. Streets down from me. I could hear them at 20 after 10. I've got Meshach, my dog, that I took out to for the last time at night, and I'm hearing this. So after I took him in, I drove down there and observed that it was starting to quiet down a little, and I figured, well, it was a little too late for me to call the police department because they'd come out and find that everything was kind of quieted down already. However, I did call a resident that this has been an ongoing problem, and he did call the police department. Chief, I just want to commend the officer team out there. Did a very fine job of taking and explaining to the residents that they had to quiet things down, which they did. And I know there's problems as far as the lighting that's out there in the backyard that lights up the whole neighborhood. And he did take pictures of that without even being asked. And I commend him for that because he could already see that what problems were and took it to his own hands to get the evidence and everything that he needed. So thank you. Anybody else on city council comments? Yes, Alderman.
I just want to again say kudos, even though they're in Vegas. The park was open Thursday night. Frank, you probably saw the huge crowd. So I think everybody was anxiously awaiting summer, and I think it's going to be a busy season for us. So, the park looked great. They were ready. It was a good turnout, and I think we're doing everything right in the downtown area. So just if you weren't there every Thursday night, come on. When does the Sunday schedule start?
End of the month.
End of this month? So not
27th, I think.
So this weekend? No, next weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Frank.
Alderman Frank McClatchy.
Just to follow up on that, thank you. Yeah, the Pearl Street Market is doing fantastic. We're going to be having bands there all through September. I want to thank Suzanne and Bill for putting together a way to get crossings there. I think that's going to really make a big difference on Thursday nights. But all my years being alderman, that is the most instant thing that ever happened. They put those up, cars are slowing down, people walk up to a curb, cars stop, they let them walk across. I mean, it was like night and day, so thank you all.
I guess I get my shot at comments, and one of the comments I want to make about it is we've had some discussion tonight as far as parking. I wholly take it and support a lot of the statements that were made as far as the parking that's needed and everything else. But I think something that we need to remember is the fact that we keep talking about these shopping centers and everything else and how much over parking lots that they've had and requirements. And the thing is yes, for some of the big boxes that are gone, maybe parking could be reduced a little, and we've seen some where we've put islands in there as far as businesses and everything else. However, I think we need to be careful as far as where we reduce parking in some instances, because even though at this time they don't seem to be totally used, you don't know what the future is going to hold, and then trying to find and squeeze parking in later can really be a problem. So I think to some extent, I would hope that when we have discussions other than the downtown area and other commercial areas that we think about, that if we give up that parking now, where are we going to get it later if it's needed? So with that, anybody else have any comments? Nothing else? I do want to bring up one other thing, I'm sorry. And that's the fact that there's been a lot of innuendos of what's going on downtown. We've had numerous executive sessions and reasons for being an executive session. But I think to some extent, I would ask that maybe the council think about opening up to the public a little bit more information than what we're giving them, and maybe we need to be given a little bit more information as well. Still keeping what needs to be in executive session there because of certain, parameters. I know in some cases it was because of the fact that we needed to make sure that certain properties didn't explode in asking prices and everything else. But at this time, we do have properties out there that we have even openly taken and negotiated as far as pricing. And I think to some extent, some of that needs to come out to the public. I think for the sake of transparency in government, I think we need to look at some of that. And I'm not saying everything, but some of it I think we need to bring out. So maybe staff can look at that and, bring back to the council as far as discussions on that, as far as what we can start bringing forward. We've got issues that the council has talked about for several months, and we've never come to bring it out to the public for votes, and maybe it's time that we do that. So with that, again, no executive session that I know of tonight. If anybody else has anything else.
I think we're all set.
I'm sorry?
Well, I did for a second, but I didn't. I just want to remind council that, and some of you have taken advantage of it, but we've asked for council to come in and meet with us. We haven't gotten an overwhelming response from council to meet with us one-on-one, and that's when we can go over with you a little bit more of what, you can talk to the public about. Executive session, David, if I'm not mistaken, is executive session, and you're really not supposed to talk about that stuff outside of executive session. So, Andy, I understand that the public, but we're in the middle of negotiating things.
It's Mayor Andy tonight, remember?
I'm sorry, Mayor Glab. I'm sorry, Mayor Glab. My bad. You're right. But I encourage the council members that haven't come in, please try to make an appointment with us so we can have those discussions with you. And I want to thank newly appointed Alderman Davis. We got an opportunity to take him down and give him the tour that all the council members were invited to on the bus a few weeks ago. So Alderman Davis get to see. We're trying to bring him up to snuff with what's going on with everything. So everything that's been discussed out in the open, the parking. Dave Patzal has sat here and given presentations. That's all stuff that you guys can talk to your constituents about. So, and I encourage it. We want to hear the feedback about, especially the parking, because that seems to be the big thing. So I want to know, some gentlemen came today. I mean, that's great. What does the rest of Green Street think? What does the rest of Riverside Drive think? What do your constituents think that visit the downtown? I mean, those are all going to be important things as we move closer to a vote. But there's a lot of stuff. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. A development like this is a marathon. It's going to take a while for us to get to a vote.
And I understand that, but wouldn't it be a lot easier to put with the entire council out in the open to the public on a lot of these issues? The way I look at it is it's the council's decision, and so I think to some extent the one-on-ones kind of detract from the group as a city council at its finest. And I think to some extent, even though that's my opinion and that's how I feel, I don't know other aldermen or alderpersons, if they haven't come to you, maybe that's the reason why, is because they feel the same way, that this is something that the entire council should take and have discussions amongst themselves as far as what needs to be done and what our vision is for the downtown. I mean, because ultimately, whatever happens there will fall on these gentlemen here that have been elected. So that's my take on that. So, Alderman Santee, did you have your hand up for something else?
I was going to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh. Yes. Yes. Colonel McCardle.
Oh, it worked. Yeah, I would join in with Ross and on those individual meetings. If we're not going to have the individual meetings for some direction, we really do need a closed session. But our meeting's not for another 2 weeks after this, right, Suzanne?
Correct.
So time's moving here, and we need direction pretty clearly on these issues that are coming up. So I guess it's inappropriate to ask for one tonight, but we definitely need one at the next meeting, if not before that, if we're not going to do these individual meetings. So it's up to you. Thank you.
Okay.
So to your comment, Andy, as far as where we're going and what direction we're heading, I think that was the whole purpose of comprehensive planning. And I think that meeting last week went extraordinarily well and gave us a lot of ability to give input to what we want to be when we grow up. I thought those meetings were held nicely, and they were big thinking meetings. And I think that's where we have invited the public to give us their input, to tell us what they want when McHenry grows up. I think the things that we're discussing in executive session are still very much in the confidential mode and need to remain confidential until they become concrete. So I think open meetings about comprehensive planning are very important, and we've held many of those, 7 at this point, Ross, 7 or 8 public meetings.
For the comprehensive plan, yeah, I think it's 5 or 6 probably.
Yeah. So I think those are effective, and I'm disappointed that we didn't have hundreds of people here at that. But we didn't, so they did outreach. They've touched a lot of people, and I think we need to take that report and its material to heart when we're making decisions in executive session.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman Miller, but I have to disagree with you on several accounts. And the first one is the fact that you talked about the public. There were 2 gentlemen that were sitting back there that were not allowed at the tables because there was no room, or else they just weren't allowed from the public. And how could we say that we invite the public for this meeting just to listen in on what was being discussed and not to be able to sit at the tables and give their input? And if it's not a council together that had any discussion on this, this was all individual. Now, I'm not saying that the meetings weren't productive, because they were. I think there was a lot of interesting comments and a lot of ability for everybody to open up. But I think as far as the public to some extent was shut down as far as, I mean, I know at my table I had a gentleman from the PACE, and I had a lady from the Land Conservancy, but yet I didn't have anybody from the general public that was invited to our table. So kind of wonder about just how open we were to the public. And like I said, I think to some extent there's been a lot of things that have been said out there, and I just think that if nothing else, we should look at that and see what other information. Granted, like you said, and I'll agree with you on some, there are some sensitive issues that we don't want to bring out, but there are other things that that we could probably bring out, and we should, anything that we could possibly bring out to the public that is not crucial to development as far as, I want to make sure that the exact wording, but basically that we need to keep an executive session, that's fine. But I think to some extent, I think some of it needs to come out. And actually, some of it that's been in executive session is wound up in a paper, and don't ask me how, but it was. Unfortunate, but some of it gets out. And then when some of it gets out, then you've got hundreds of people that are coming up with their own ideas of what's going on, and nobody's giving them the exact answers of what we can tell them. So the more we can tell the public, I think the better off the city as a whole is. So, Alderwoman Bassi.
Close enough.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to respond to your comment that the last discussion, 2 people were in the audience and were not allowed to participate. The time before that, I had 3 of my constituents who thought they were also going to be able to make comments, and then they emailed me after the fact and said, you know, we really thought we would be able to participate, but at no point were we included in any discussion. So I think for that, you know, we should have actually allowed them and embraced them into the table.
And again, for the comprehensive plan, and, you know, I really thought half of that meeting would have been about the downtown area also, as far as the visions, and the revisions of the entire city, which is good. But I think most of our discussions over the last 6 months to a year has been the downtown, and I would have thought that maybe we would have really kind of keyed in a little bit more on the comprehensive plan of the downtown area as a whole. Like I said, I think it was a very productive meeting, and I think there was a lot of comments and on both tables, from what I had heard, what was made at one table as well as the table that I was at, which was good as far as hopefully a lot of that is taken into account when they come back with more of everything together as far as where we should be heading. Alderman McClatchy, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to second the motion by Alderman Santi to adjourn.
Okay. Any other discussion? Then we take roll call.
Alderman Key?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Gleb?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.